Hi guys, here with another video. If you've been following my channel, you know that I like to try and concentrate on some of the things that are a little bit more of the subtleties or the tricks of the trade as far as electrical work, some of the stuff that's not quite so glamorous, but nevertheless things that you need to know how to do in order to be a successful electrician, especially when you're doing old work. So, got a job here today. We're putting in a couple of ceiling lights in a in a bedroom closet, and as you can see, we're in the process of trying to figure out a way to get the wires fished down to that location. And so I wanted to show this because this is something that if you're going to do old work, this is something that you're likely to run into. Now this house here was built probably in the early 1900s, and so a lot of times, and it's one of those houses where you've got a staircase going up into the attic. And so a lot of times when you have an accessible attic like that in an older home, you're going to have floorboards like this in the attic, and what these tend to be is these tend to be tongue and groove wood. And so in order to drill down and fish wires down to the wall, you have to know how to cut this away and do it in such a way that you can actually put it back so it still functions as a floor once you're done. So what I've done is we've already done all the measuring. We figured out that the wall is the edge of the wall that we want to drill down into is approximately, the end of it is approximately at this location. And so we just figure out how to figure out the wall depth and all that fun stuff. But anyways, I'm going to show you how you cut these boards away in such a way that you can just put them back, and I'm hoping that when I cut these away, that I'm going to see the top of the wall that I'm going to want to drill down into. So, and as is the case with a lot of older houses, way back in the day, lumber wasn't exactly as expensive, and as it was cheap back then. So these boards are probably pretty thick. They're probably about 3/4 of an inch thick. I like to cut them away using one of these oscillating cutters. They work really good. You can also use a circular saw if you want, but you have to remember that if you use a circular saw, you have to set the blade depth so that it's only as thick as the boards you're trying to cut. Otherwise, you're going to cut down. You could potentially cut down further, and you don't know if there's wires or something in there, so you got to be very careful. Now, you'll notice that if you can see here, you'll notice that you can see the nails where these boards are nailed into the ceiling joists, and so you always want to try and cut these boards on one of those ceiling joists so that you can put them back and nail them back so that you can essentially recreate the floor that was there before. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna show you cutting one of these, and once I get them cut away, we'll show you the process of drilling down into the wall. Okay, so I've got the board cut away. I had to take the nails out. Board comes up. You can see that I cut it so that it's halfway on one of the ceiling joists here so that I can nail it back. I can also nail it back here, and apparently here. I'm not sure what this block is. And I just want to point out that one of the reasons why you got to be very careful is on display here of why you got to be careful of how deep you cut is because this is a wire. This is old knob and tube wiring, 100-year-old knob and tube wiring that's probably actually still feeding circuits in the house. So if you cut too deep, like if you use a Sawzall or something like that, you could be cutting stuff like that, wires, plumbing, anything. So you got to be very careful. And if you look closely, I think if my cameraman could just bring the camera in here, you can see where I believe that piece of wood that you can see laying flat is actually the top of the wall downstairs. So that's what we're going to be drilling down into in order to fish down into the wall. And we'll be measuring again to make sure, and then we'll be drilling next. And one thing I want to point out is that everything I'm doing here I'm doing before I cut any holes in anything downstairs. I haven't cut any of the holes for the ceiling lights. I haven't cut the hole for the switch, nothing. This is not only work that you have to do in order to fish the wires, but it's also investigative work you have to do to make sure that you can get down that wall space before you actually start cutting holes in the downstairs, the parts that actually show. So, all right, we're going to do that now. We're going to drill down now. Okay, so we got the boards cut away, and you can see that I cut so I could get over into the next space too, so I could drill through here and fish wires over to where the closet lights are going to be in the ceiling. And again, you can see where I believe that this board that you're looking at here, if you can see that's laying flat, is the top of the wall. Now, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to find as far as the thickness of the wall, but I've done all my measuring, and I figured that this is approximately above where I want the switch to be, and this is approximately the center of the wall space, I hope. So when drilling down, I like to use these paddle bits like this, and you can use a regular twist bit if you want, but sometimes those tend to pull on you. So you want to be able to go very slowly in the off chance that you might be missing the wall. It might be drilling down into the ceiling or something and out into the room. At the very least, only the very little point will go through, and you'll be able to see light. So you're just kind of slowly going along and making sure that you're not pushing too hard so that the whole drill bit doesn't go through all at once. So we're going to try that now, and that's the next step here. Here we go. Okay, well, it took a little bit more exploring than I had hoped, but drilled a couple holes over here, slowly, and unfortunately it didn't go down into the wall space like I was hoping. Looks like I might have actually hit the edge of the header for the closet door. So had to measure again, move back a little bit, and was able to drill down through, and the drill bit did go through down into the wall space. And now I'm going to use this piece of wire. You can use this, you can use a fish tape, anything that's rigid that you can push down the wall. And I'm going to push down there just to make sure that I can get all the way down the wall space to the switch location. So you're probably figuring about 4 feet down. Yeah. And it looks like I can. So I put about 5 feet of that down the wall. So anyways, I think that we're good. We're going to be able to fish the wires down there and then get them over to the closet lights and be able to finish this job up. So that's going to be the end of this video. Just wanted to show you what it takes sometimes to drill down the wall in doing old work in an old house in an attic with floorboards like this. And so when I'm done, just so you know, when I'm done with all this, I'm just going to take these floorboards, I'm just going to put them back where they were and just nail them back into place, and it'll kind of look like I was never here, except for some of these little broken chips and stuff. So hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.